What's up, guys? Alpine Gremlin again here with some more World of Tanks. I'm going to try something that a lot of the better World of Tanks YouTubers, a lot more popular than me, stuff that they do. And whenever they showcase a tank, they usually always show it in the garage first, just to give an overview of what it can do. You know, like Jingles does his really long garage reviews, but I don't want to... I'm going to keep my videos a little bit shorter, so I'm not going to do a full-on evaluation of the stats, but I'm going to try quickly talking about what the tank can do, its strengths and weaknesses, stuff like that. Some overview of stats, but nothing like Jingles, you know, who literally dissects everything. And while I like that setup, it's just, I like to keep my videos short. So before I show some gameplay, I'm going to talk about the tank a little bit. So we'll see how this goes. This is the T32. It's an American Tier 8 heavy tank. The child of the T29 here at Tier 7. And basically, it's an American heavy tank, so it excels at that turret. The turret is the strong point of the tank. And basically, if you can keep the hull covered, which is relatively, well, let's say, how is it different from the T29? Well, at Tier 7, the T29's got 102 millimeters of frontal hull armor, 76, 51, and the turret's 279 at the front, 127 at the side, 102 at the rear. And it's pretty much the same with the T32. The only difference is the T32 has got an additional 20 millimeters or so of hull armor, but at Tier 8 isn't really going to do much to save you because most guns have more than enough pen to get through that anyway. So the key is keep that turret exposed. Make sure the enemies can only shoot at that. American heavies excel in their hull down positions because there isn't too many guns in the game that can penetrate an American turret. Nothing is getting through that gun mantle. So really the only viable weak point to aim for is this commander's cupola at the top, which is a tiny target to hit, and if you jink your tank back and forth, move the turret in between shots, it's hard to hit. I don't really like this tank as much as the T29 at Tier 7 because for the simple fact of the gun is literally the only thing that ruins the T32 for me, because you've got the same exact gun at Tier 7 as you do at Tier 8. You're basically driving a T29 with a easier to hit weak point, because in the T29 you can see where the cupola is here. In between shots, the only chance of opponents penning you is through that cupola, and if you're hull down in a good position, you know, you have your cheeks angled, you can bounce pretty much, you can bounce Tier 8s, which is the maximum this tank will get into seeing. And to make it even more difficult to penetrate you, in between shots, you can lift your gun up and it can cover that cupola. Not so much on the T32 because the cupola is off to the side, so if you try to lift your gun up, you won't. So basically the only less reliable way of covering it is to jink back and forth. And I don't hate this tank, but it's just because it's a Tier 8 and gets into Tier 10 games, and because you don't get any better guns at this tier, you're stuck with the same 105mm T54E1 gun. You've only got 198mm of pen. I mean, that can get through most weak points, but let's be honest, Tier 10 tanks are gonna bounce this like no other. You'll be bouncing off Tier 10s all day unless you load premium ammunition, which isn't always a viable option for everybody. So I really don't like this tank as much because basically you're just driving a T29 that gets into Tier 10 battles. Yes, you get more hit points, 1550 as opposed to 1250, and yes, you get some additional hull armor, but it's just it's just the gun that ruins it for me. And it doesn't even ruin it, it just makes it a little more unpleasant. So I'm really not too sure what to think about this tank. I like it. I want to like it because I think it's a solid machine. It's just the matchmaking that it gets, just it doesn't work. But when it's top tier, which you'll see in the gameplay is me at top tier on Pearl River. At top tier, this thing is great. I love this tank so much. So, you know, you'll see it it plays identically to the T29 and the American Heavies that are going to come after it. You know, hull down all times, protect that hull, and you will do pretty well for yourself. So, enough about the stats. Let's show some gameplay. Now, before, just one more thing. My crew, training and repairs. That's my standard procedure with heavy tanks like T29. Repairs, they're on their second skill, brothers in arms. When these guys are ready to train on their second skill, going to be brothers in arms, because repairs, heavy tank, you don't want to get caught out in the open, and if you're going to be taking module damage, you're going to want to get those back up as quickly as possible. So, repairs, always on heavy tanks. I don't have as much equipment as I have fitted on the T29, just because I don't plan on keeping the T32 around. I'm probably going to sell it when I move on to the next tank in the tree, the M103. So, I will probably not be needing anything else at this point. I'm just going to finish the grind and move on. But, anyway, without further ado, let's show some gameplay, huh? So here we are on Pearl River. Now, in advance, 8.7 screwed up the replay systems as usual, and you can see how my tank's just glitching out here, and it's not even, the battle hasn't even started yet. It's just the way the codec screwed up. So replays are a little bit bugged right now. So please excuse the laggy nature of it. But anyway, here we are on Pearl River. T32 is at top tier. This is where it can be the most effective. So, as a heavy tank, my objective here is to go north. Now, pay attention to the chat, because there's going to be a lot of disagreement and, you know, debate going on over whether or not to cross the bridge. In general, I disagree with a lot of people in that crossing the bridge is actually important when you start from the south. If you put pressure on the guys up north, you can generally win the flank. If you let them come to the bridge, they can use the bridge as a hull down position, so all you're getting is turret shots at them, and they can fire at your entire hull, especially on defenders taking up positions here. So it's generally not a good idea to let them have that bridge, especially vehicles that have good turrets. Even things like E100s and IS-7s can get under there, and they can fire down from hull down positions and screw up the defenders. So if the defenders push across that bridge and pressure them with enough tanks, you can generally win. But as you see, and I want you to pay attention to this ISU 152 and these T69, and this T69, both of these jackasses here. Oh god, that's pitiful wargaming. Why did you screw up your replays like that? Anyway, just please excuse the way the video looks right now. It's really laggy, but you get the gist of what's going on. So here we go. Don't cross the bridge, but it's fun, Mom. All the kids do it. You know, all these jackasses in chat just being World of Tanks jackasses. Now I need to and I'm gonna type to my platoon mate. If you pressure them, then the flank will fall. And you'll see. But you know what? I'm putting some pressure on this flank. I'm going up there, because I'm not gonna let them shoot at me from hull down positions. And I'm telling my platoon mate, if we cross the bridge and pressure them, then we have a good chance of winning. Also notice that there isn't a whole lot going south, so we really do need to pressure them, otherwise they're going to come around back and kill us. So the first shot I take of the game doesn't bode well, but I'm going to be wrong. But I bounced my first shot off of a Centurion medium tank. Coming up here in a second. So we've already lost a T32 who pushed a T34 who put up too far. But there's the bounce. I'm like, and right now I'm like, oh great. But because there's nothing for me to go hull down behind right now, I'm gonna have to resort to side scrapping. Side scraping is where you, as some of you may have seen from my other videos, side scraping is when you present your side armor to an enemy behind cover at an angle that is very difficult for them to penetrate. So I got my tracks blown off. So I'm going to have to wait for them to push up. But you can see all these bounces off my turret. Get tracked again. But I have some good side shots at this KV-5. But he's starting to pen me, so I need to get behind this rock and start side scraping off of him. I'm kind of hull down as well, but you'll see I'm not quite covered as much because he is penning the side of my tank, so I need to readjust my position. This is a much stronger position to be in because you can see now he's just non-damaging penning my side armor or bouncing in general. So here he comes out again. He wants some more. Giving me the side of his tank, not a good idea. Now here's where he gets a little bit smarter. He gets a little bit smarter, but not quite, because the KV-5 is riddled with weak spots, so I'm just putting shot after shot into his commander's hatch. There's another one. One more hit and he should be done. Now we just lost our Lova. And one more hit and he's down. So now I need to wait to reload. Now there's still a bunch more people coming out there. I'm going to kill this tiger. Now unfortunately that IS-3 does get killed. I bounce off the T32 at a weird angle. Now this IS-3 is going down. Now hang on. Now I want to show you guys something. Me, my platoon mate, and this IS-3 are all that's holding this flank against these guys here. Now, look at these two jackasses right here, the ISU and the T69. In the chat before, you notice they're like, oh, I'm going to wait for them to die, then I'll defend it. Well, hey, jackholes, if you had just pushed up with us, we would have already taken this flank already. ISU's got a BL-10, 152mm tier 10 gun. That would have been helpful to have up here. T69 with an autoloader to get on their flanks, that would have been helpful, but no, they just sit there, and both of these guys did 0 damage the whole game. Sure, their tanks didn't get damaged at all, but they also didn't do any damage and didn't contribute in any way, shape, or form. These are the kinds of players right here that lose games for their team. But I'm going to put shots into this IS-3. Unfortunately, I'm bouncing. But this shot does not bounce, go through him. The IS-3 just got taken out. So I'm going to have to kill this IS-3 really quick because this T32 is getting onto my flank. He's down now. So right now, all that's left is me and this T32. We got a nice shot into his side. Bounces off my front, so I'm going to get a shot into his lower hull. Now I'm going to move up there, and I'm going to face hug him. And I'm going to jink my turret back and forth so that he can't get shots on my commander's hatch. Fortunately, I bounced off his commander's hatch. He bounces off my front of my turret. So now I'm going to back off. I'm going to shoot. I keep bouncing off his commander's hatch, so I'm not going to be able to pen it reliably. So I'm going to have to back off and take a shot. My platoon mate puts one into it, and I kill him off. And Look at these, like, these guys are like, oh, 171 pen isn't going to cut it. That's not even the right pen on this gun, guys. Come on. Now watch the chat here. Just keep an eye out for what they say. LOL, City, did you just win? Yeah, I did. No thanks to you, jackass. I was not very pleased with these guys, if you can probably tell. But, you know, these are the kind of players, again, that lose games. And if they had been up there, oh, that a boy. Like, what a jerk. Just get out of here, bud. Seriously. So anyway, all that's left to kill off is a Hummel and IS-152 who's going to die shortly, and a scout. And, you know, this would have been so much easier if we had just defended, if they had just been up there helping me. But whatever, I'll take the extra damage, and I'll take the potential damage. This game was my mastery badge for this tank, by the way, so it was a pretty good result. There's the Hummel. I burned my repair kit to kill him because, well, what else am I going to use it on? Hummel's down, and that's the win. So, there is an example of the T29 at high tier. So, here's our after action report. You can see we gained, without the special event that was going on, it's 125,340 credits. That's just because I got a bonus for one of the events going on the North American server. Without that event, I still would have gotten 92,676 credits, which is very good in Tier 8. 2,092 experience. I got my Mastery Badge, Ace Tanker for this tank, and I received Sniper, Steel Wall, Top Gun. I hit 20 out of 20 shots fired for 100% hit ratio. Only 38 damage upon detecting, but it's okay because I did 4,103 damage. Despite having two useless high-tier opponents, with a little bit of support from my teammates, I was able to effectively hold the North and put pressure on them and get us the victory. So, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Thanks for watching, as usual.